Again, well, basically, I'm doing this video because I need to express a few things. First of all, I am quite surprised by the number, number of majority of people on YouTube proclaiming that extraterrestrials are demons, fallen angels, and that sort of shit. Seriously, not, they're not. And the reason being is because of my self-experience. They're not interdimensional. They appear so because they be able to transport themselves from one point to another without walking. So it's basically teleporting. It's like basically telling that the Star Trek Enterprise, all the crew members, when they use a transporter, one would actually assume on a planet that's not developed enough, that they would assume that they're like interdimensional. So seriously, they're not interdimensional, just they appear so because of their advanced technology. And secondly, I'm going to discuss about orbs, light orbs. What are they? Basically, people call them spread orbs and things like that. I disagree. Basically, they are like, if anyone's watched Stargate Universe, with the chap that found these balls that had cameras on, I think called them kinos. Well, basically, those light orbs are those things, in a sense, but they're made up of condensed photons, which means they are holograms. And the circuitry of the holograms are quite intricate, and they're not made out of atoms, but they're made out of photons, condensed photons. So if you're capable of making a circuit that is photons, you'll be able to make a much smaller nanotechnology. It's like it can't even be called nanotechnology because it's much smaller than the nano. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. And these orbs are capable of many functions. It's basically multifunctional. For example, your smartphone, it's a computer, come phone, come GPS, come game thing, come this, come that, come that. For example, it's multifunctional. And one of the functions is these orbs have teleporting capabilities. The extraterrestrial, I'm going to use an example. This is your orb, right? And this is the spacecraft. The orb is much smaller than the spacecraft. The orb comes out of the spacecraft, boom, and it travels all around the planet. This spacecraft is basically traveling all around the planet, and inside the spacecraft is your extraterrestrial, right? So basically, your extraterrestrial connects with the orb, not with satellites, but with quantum entanglement, right? With the quantum entanglement, the extraterrestrial teleports to the orb, well, uses the orb as a way to project themselves out. So the extraterrestrial teleports through quantum entanglement out of the orb, and then pops out. It pops out. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. So the extraterrestrial pops out of the orb. So explores around, blah 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 blah, and it's capable of, because it's a hologram, it can actually be stored in the extraterrestrial's whatever device, perhaps like a bangle. The orb gets stored in the bangle, right? So the extraterrestrial walks around. And say if the extraterrestrial wants to go back to the spacecraft, out pops the orb, right? And then the extraterrestrial says, alright, I'm going to go to my spacecraft, teleports through the orb, using quantum entanglement back into the spacecraft. There we go. And then the spacecraft says, okay, nice time visiting this planet. Let's go. And goes away. So that's what basically the orbs more or less do. They also, like probes and things like that, can go through walls and things like that. So anyway, that's your orbs for you.